name's Mark, and I'm the sole developer of stratO. So stratO puts you in control of a friction-fueled rocket glider. So let's talk about the glider part of this thing. In the first place is that as a glider, you don't normally have any power. Instead, if you want to go faster, you have to go down. You have to dive to go faster. And the object of the game is to get as many rings as you can. Every ring that you touch is worth 1 point, and every bullseye that you strike, and I aim carefully for that, that's worth 5 points. Now, this rocket glider, if you're not moving very, very fast, you must be moving in order to fly properly. If you aren't moving, if you keep flying upwards against gravity, you eventually stall. So you have to keep your speed up. And you do that just by using gravity. Fly with gravity, not against it. The other thing about the game is that you're trying to get as many rings as you can. The game gets harder and harder depending on how many rings you've collected. Or rather, the more rings you get, the harder the game gets. So naturally, a person who's very good, who can hit the bullseyes a lot, is going to find that the difficulty gets harder, faster. Now, hitting platforms is okay. You can hit pillars. And in fact, you can do this thing where you tuck the wings, and this will power your engine. I said that it was a friction-fueled rocket glider. So, tucking your wings with this D and J, this tucks your wings and it magnetizes you. The other thing that's very important is the orientation of your craft. So you'll see that there's like a little red marker and a little teal marker on top. That's a toothpick and a cherry. If you pull up, in this case, pulling up, that makes you pull up towards the toothpick, and diving makes you dive towards the cherry. This means that if you are sideways, then you pull up sideways. So you have to pay attention to that toothpick and the cherry. Also, there's that big green ring that goes around. That is the gravity ring, and that shows which way that gravity is going. So you can fly as long as you want. It's an endless game, and you're trying to get as many rings as you can. And the way that you lose the game is if you either get stuck. So getting stuck means getting stuck on a platform. I'm just going to let myself crash on one of these things. So getting stuck or getting wedged somewhere, that will end your run, and so will going out of bounds. And going out of bounds is possible if you were to just dive straight down into one of these little cracks. If I just kept falling into one of these little crevices, that is going out of bounds. So those are the only two lose conditions in the game. And so, yeah, you're going to want to try and fly for as long as you can. Use your individual control pins. So W and S, that controls the left aileron. A and D controls the right aileron. So it has some unusual control schemes. You also have two air brakes, A and L. These are your air brakes. These act kind of like rudder controls. And then D and J, these will allow you to tuck your wings in. And so tucking your wings in has a bunch of little neat things you can do. So A and L, you can simultaneously hit these to kind of come to a stop. But of course, you want to keep your speed up, because it means that you can maneuver more quickly. Your turning radius, your turning also speeds up the faster you're going. And so what you want to do is you want to sidle up to the surface, tuck your wings, magnetize, and slide. And slide, and while your wings are tucked, you can do this thing called wall driving. And you want to avoid hitting your nose against anything, because that will end your wall drive and your boost. And if you hit rings while you're boosting, it gives you a lot more points. You get a burn bonus. Oops, and that ended that burn combo. So that's pretty much all there is to the game. Well, I wouldn't say that's all there is to the game. The plane is going to take a lot of getting used to flying. It's kind of like learning how to ride a bicycle or learning how to stay on a skateboard. This is actually a game that requires a substantial amount of skill. I know that a lot of people, they come to me and they say, well, we want new games, we want a game that's very different and whatnot. And so the only problem is that if I make a game that's very different and new, you're going to have to learn it. You're going to have to become really, really good at the game. And so it's a bit of a balancing act, right? Like to turn, the thing about the way that this plane flies, the plane flies kind of like a fighter jet, in that you don't turn using your rudders, you turn with the ailerons. You can bank and then pull up for faster turns like this, or you can like lightly tap on an aileron and keep yourself balanced on the side, right? And you can turn sideways much, much faster. And there's one last maneuver that I want to show you before I end this tutorial, is that you can tuck your wings and you can pull up on the aileron, because when you tuck your wings, it turns your aileron sideways. So that is used as rapid handbrake. So that's pretty much all there is to the game. If you wind up stalling, you're going to want to recover. You want to get your nose pointed down as fast as you can. Maybe slam on the brakes and get your nose pointed down. Dive for a bit, get some speed back up. And also when you are if you maybe collide with the wall, like if you get really close to a wall and you bang into it and you stall, you can magnetize, and magnetizing will also reorient your craft to the wall that you're sliding on. So in this case, I'm going to slide, and you can see that I can wall drive using the ailerons, and then I can do something like, say, a slam fire. Slam fire is when you slam on the brakes and then tuck, and that will instantly fire your jet off, as opposed to waiting. Your jet doesn't fire while you're connected to a wall, so you have to peel away from the wall, or you have to you can cancel with the brakes, and then you can resume your burn with the tuck. So you can slam fire to negate the delay. And you can do things like cancel your burn and do turn-in burns, and there's lots of little kind of hidden maneuvers that you can learn in the game. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, if you are wanting to know which keys do what, or you want to map your controls, just move your mouse over any of these controls, and there's extended tooltip information on all these things. You can use the keyboard to navigate your control panel. These are all of your graphical settings. You'll find them all here. All have advanced tooltips for them. You can use the up and down arrow keys to change out your settings. There's even a colorblind mode, and there's shadows that can be toggled. There's a little frames per second counter, which you'll see here. So as you adjust your settings in real time, you'll see the impact that your settings have. You can adjust between full screen mode settings. And so also with your controls, down here is where you assign your controls. You can use the mouse wheel to select which control that you want to assign, or you can use the arrow keys. And then when you want to assign a key, you just hit that key and then hit the new key, and it will remap it just like that. And then finally, there's a test mode where if you turn that on, as you press your keys, you get to kind of see how they how each key does what. And you can do the same for all of your controller mappings. It does support a native Xbox controller. You've got vibration control toggles that you can use over here. You can also use generic gamepads, and if you have multiple gamepads selected, you can choose the index with the mouse wheel or the arrow keys, and then you'll see that it turns yellow. You have to turn it off and turn it back on to reconnect that particular game controller. So if you have many gamepads and you don't know which one you want to use, you're going to have to adjust that index setting. And then also there's the keyboard. And if you're using a flight stick as opposed to a gamepad, like a single stick flight stick, you can press and hold on this thing here, and you'll see that it puts you in flight stick mode. So that has its own little adjustment as well. So you can press and hold to switch between flight stick settings. You've got FOV settings here. If you click that, that will turn off dynamic FOV adjustment. And then also if you press and hold on this thing, it will put you into the nausea-inducing first-person mode, which you may hate or love. I don't know. It's up to you. But personally, I hate it. But it's there for people who want to dip. And yeah. So, but if you want to turn it off, just press and hold on that thing, and it will turn off. And if you need to quit the game, if you hit escape, that will pause it. If you press and hold escape, it will quit. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So anytime you want to quit, just press and hold the escape key, and it takes you out of the game. So that's stratO. And if you have any questions, please do talk on the forums, on the Steam forums. Get in touch with me, and I'll do the best I can to help you out. Also, I have a Twitter. It's LE_MEC. Do hit me up on Twitter. I try to be very responsive on the game. I am in the process of adding built-in tutorials to help make all this stuff. So it's all in game. But anyway, I will talk to you all later, and take care. Have fun. Enjoy stratO.